not what you're telling on, it's who you're telling on. If you're telling on the right people, you're walking out. Cooperation, it was created for Mafia. We vow to not ever do this. Our code, I have it on my arm. I'm a sellout, but I walked out the door. I was facing 100 years.
You know, you get the rat thing, snitch, rat, all that stuff.
Right.
So, and this is what I get in the comments all the time, and which is basically what they say is, you know, oh, you just fucking gave somebody up and you walked right out of fucking jail, or oh, it's, you know, like you don't. They act like you get arrested for fucking stealing $10 million, and you go, oh, hey, I know a guy who's got a fucking lab, and then they go look and they go knock on his door and they arrest him and they let you out of fucking jail.
No, especially if you have violence. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like I said, I'll break down the agreement. The cooperation agreement for New York in that state is the best. So you can't really compare it to other states. Like when I was in the units, in the Woodsack units, right? You're with the most high-profile people in the country. You're with people from all over, every state. I was with guys from Alaska, bikers from Alaska. Literally, one guy's name was Long Walker. I was dying laughing. Anyway, so you're with people all over the country, and they all got agreements. And if you sit with a table of 10 of us, all from different states, and then New York, you will see the difference.
Yeah.
So let's say, for instance, I had a friend named Jay-Z. He was a head Latin king out of Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
They told him, if you have a murder, there's nothing under 20 years. No matter if you tell on God. You tell on Jesus Christ, put him in prison, you're getting 20 years. That's your minimum. And then we could work with you after that on Rule 35 if we could use you in other cases.
Right.
You understand? But your minimum is 20 years. So do not expect anything under 20.
Right.
You understand? That's Chicago. Okay? Virginia, Second Circuit. There's no point of cooperating. Okay? There's almost no point of cooperating.
Oh, because they get you almost nothing.
It is so horrible. When I tell you, I believe it's the Second Circuit. I believe Virginia is the Second Circuit. I'm almost positive. When I tell you, Matt, they are cooperating for 40 years, 35 years with murders. That's what they're getting. They are cooperating and telling them everything they have and getting 30 years. Coming back looking like they just lost their dog. Like this, look. They just got 30 years. Then you have New York. 7, 8 murders, 10 murders, 12 murders. My friends, Big Dino, Little Dino, Joey Cave, these guys are serial killers, Mafia hitmen. 8 years,
Right.
10 years. They'll give you a guideline of, so you'll cop out. I'll tell you now, New York, we'll get to the best cooperation there is. So in New York, federal New York, you'll go in front of a judge, you'll plea out to all your top charges. They don't tell you what you're going to get, you're not going to get. You're gonna cop out to your top charges. So if you have murder, you're pleading out to all 6 of your murders and all the top charges, and you'll cop out to life plus life plus life plus life plus life plus 60. That's what you'll cop out to. I've seen guys cop out to 6 lives plus 70 years. And then when you have the 5K agreement, and you told on some people in New York, these big guys or whatever names you're cooperating against, you go in front of the judge, and with the 5K agreement, your minimum mandatory is no more. So if you have 6 life sentences, now becomes 0 to life. So the judge can give you
0
1 day,
okay,
0 to natural life in prison. That's his range now. Now, if you don't have the 5K, your minimum mandatory is life, obviously. So with the 5K letter, and I had friends, Sammy Gavano, 19 murders, 5 years. Joey Caves, 7 murders, 8 years. Big Dino, 11 murders, 10 years. Okay, I'll keep naming them. In New York, this is 15 murders, 8 murders, 6 murders. They work with anything. And I'm going to tell you why they do these deals. Now, I'm not saying New York is the big gang city, but it technically is. All the high-profile guys, a lot of big-timers come out of New York, especially with organized crime. Cooperation came from Mafia. It was created for Mafia.
Right.
They had nowhere to put these guys. They were cooperating. They were scared for their lives, you know. So they made these deals so scrumptious because at one time, Mafia ruled the country. So now, okay, how are we going to get these guys to cooperate? We got to make it, you know, worth it for them.
Right.
Sammy Gavano. That paved the way for everybody. They says, oh my God, this guy got 5 years for killing 19 people. He was the head of an organization. They basically, when you sit with prosecutors and you sit with the agents, they tell you, we have to make it worth your while. When we can't tell you what you're going to get, but 9 out of 10 times, you're going to get a really good deal. So when you go in front of a judge and you cooperate against John Gotti's or these Vinny Assaros, in my case, these big time guys, time served. I walked out the door right after courtroom. I did 6 years, but I walked right out the door. I was facing 100 years.
Well, so why did you do 6 years? Because it was that long while these guys are fighting their cases?
No, because you have violence. They want some time out of you. So when you have violence, you have so much crime. And now remember, I had 3 different conspiracies. I'm a violent predicate persistent. I had multiple felonies already, and I'm going in front and I'm admitting to 1,000 violent crimes.
All right.
Think about that. You know, you got to get some time out of me. Something. Yeah. It's not like, now if I had like a case like yours and I'm cooperating against the people I did, I probably would literally be out on bail the whole time.
All right.
I would be out on bail the whole time. With no violence in New York and you're cooperating against big people, you won't even be in jail. My cousin Anthony, he didn't do a day. Only 6 months before only reason why he did 6 months because he didn't cooperate yet. He waited to get bail. When he got bailed out on $2 million, he never did another day in jail. He got time served, not 1 day.
Right.
Think about that. And he had murder. He killed his own brother-in-law. But at the end of the day, he was older. He testified on so many trials, and the judge didn't even give him 1 day. He let him walk right out the door. That's New York cooperation. You understand? Because why? Organized crime. They ruled the country at one point. They get the best deals. New York, Eastern Southern District, they're going to let you out. If you're cooperating against these big gang members, these people, no matter how many people you killed, how many people you shot, you're going to have a second chance at life.
Right.
You understand? But I've seen deals get ripped up, people lying, leaving out crimes. These idiots don't want to admit to everything. I don't want to tell on this guy. And then they'll cooperate for no reason. But then I still seen it, still decent time.
Yeah.
It's still not that bad.
Oh, I know guys that have the same thing where they had cooperation and then, you know, a week before their sentencing, they find out that the guy lied about this or he called up a witness and made a veiled threat. And then they get in front of the judge. And because he made one phone call and made a veiled threat, they took away his cooperation. And he ends up, instead of going from, you know, let's say 10 years to 5 years, now he's going to do the whole 10. Now, that's not a lot. But still, for a phone call where he's like, okay, well, you got something coming to you. And that's all the guy said.
Yeah.
Took 5 years.
That's other states. You know, like I said, New York, I seen guys' deals get ripped up.
No, that was Florida.
Well, that's the worst. That's one of the worst cooperation states there is.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Florida, Texas, Virginia, Illinois, Chicago, all of those areas, it's just horrible. Virginia's the number one worst cooperation agreements there is. I swear to God, they would come back with 30 years telling everybody. They would come back with 30 years.
I wonder what California is. Is that
California's
high
deep? No, yeah, California's bad, but not as bad as Florida's horrible too. Florida will hang you. Florida wanted my head on a stick. I had a lot of armed robberies on jewelry stores in Florida, and the prosecutors from New York gave them the evidence to lock me up in Florida. Mm. So when I cooperated 2 years in, they didn't want to help me. They were like, "No, we're frying this kid." The prosecutor goes, "Hold on." Nicole Agitieri, who's the attorney general of fucking Eastern District right now. That was my prosecutor.
All right.
She's huge. This girl's brutal, by the way. Friendly when you're with her. When you're not, she's brutal. She told Florida, okay, so you're not gonna drop the charges. We gave you the evidence. Okay, well, he did it for organized crime. Take care. And pulled the whole case from them. They were furious. They wanted to give me 20 years out there because I was sticking up jewelry stores.
Right.
Tying them up in the jewelry store. So they wanted... No. They wanted, I was taking the whole store.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We were taking the store, and tying them up and taking the store. So I says, well, they had me on wiretaps. Florida never had no evidence against me. My cousin was wearing a wire. So Florida was able to indict me off my cousin's wiretaps. So Nicole wanted me to cooperate. So she's throwing everything at me. You know what I mean? When I sat down and cooperated, I says, hey, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Florida's looking to hang me. If you're not going to get rid of Florida, there's no point in me doing this. She goes, I'm trying. They're being hard asses. They don't want to drop the charges.
I'd rather do my time in the Fed.
I'd rather just take my time. They're going to railroad me. So it's PBL out there, punishable by life. If you blow trial in Florida on an armed robbery, they give you natural life if they want. You know that, right? It's called punishable by life. So if you blow trial to a robbery and one with a gun, it holds natural life in prison. I don't know if you know that. It's called PBL, yeah. So I was at a 20-year guideline with them. So if I blow trial, I get natural life.
Right.
So I'm telling them, if you don't get Florida out of there, they're trying to hang me. Nicole Agitieri goes, okay, you don't want to drop the case? Well, he's organized crime. And they pulled the whole case from them.
Right.
They literally pulled it. Didn't exist anymore. I got sentenced to that in New York. That's how much she looked out for me. Other than that, I was fucked. Florida was looking to bang me over the head. They didn't give a fuck if I told on fucking kingpins. They don't care. They wanted my head on a stick. I went to their state. I was on wiretap saying I'm going to tear this state to pieces. I'm on wiretap saying that. I'm like, yo, I'm going to tear this state. I said, I'm going to tear this state to pieces. And they were really after me. That was Boca Raton.
So let's go back.
Yeah.
My question is this.
Yeah.
You were grabbed, you're locked up, you got multiple cases against you. It's been you don't say anything for a couple of years.
Yeah.
At some point, how does that like process? Like you're sitting in your cell, the CO comes up, or do they call you? Is it open bay?
CO comes,
knocks on the door, and says, "Hey, you're going to medical," and then you walk it.
Visit. I knew it was fake, but you know why I knew the whole thing was fake? Because a captain came to see me. I'm like, what the fuck you doing here?
Yeah.
For a visit. You're a captain. You don't even come and see me, mate. And I looked at her, because in Rikers Island cells, there's no windows.
Yeah.
So it just the doors close. Sometimes a key cells, but there's no window on the thing. You can talk out. You know how they have glass usually on your cell?
Yeah.
There's no glass on it. It's just open.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It's just a square thing. So I'm talking, I'm looking at it, I go, Feds? She's like,
right.
I was like, all right. I knew it. You know what I'm saying? I knew already. I ain't got no visit. It's Tuesday. There's no such thing as a visit. In my brain, I'm like, yo, you're going to get these people thinking some shit in this fucking tier right now. I'm with all guys that are real serious dudes. Like, I'm in a gang fucking unit tier with leaders. They all love me in there. Everyone's facing life. And I'm like,
you're not doing me a favor.
You're not helping me out.
You showing up.
And they're all like, Gino. Everyone calls me, anytime I was in prison, my nickname was Gino. Always Gino. Gino, where you going? I'm like, I don't know. They call me down. I'm ready. In my brain, I'm like, let me hear what these fucks got to say. I've told you this story before, and that's how they got me. They brought me down, and Rob and Adam, who are very famous agents, they were on the front page of the paper with Vinny Asaro, bringing them in for the Latanza case. They work, their Borrello crime family assigned agents. So they know more about your family than you do.
Right.
So you can't lie to them. It's like me talking to you about your stocks. You know if I'm bullshitting or not. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking at me like, they told me, listen, you are indicted by the government. We will be coming to lock you up. You will be spending most of the remaining life in prison. This is the last time I'm coming to see you. You're done. Like, you're fucked. We got Florida. They said, you're done. I was like, okay. And I took the paper. That was it.
So what happens? So after that, you go back to your cell.
So I explained to them. I says, bro, I'm in the worst county in America. I says, if they even get a fucking idea that I'm doing this, I'm carved up. They're going to stab me off the block. I says, you have to get me out of here. I says, I'm in the worst house in the jail.
Right.
They all love me. I'm known to the building. I was already known for fighting and stabbing Latin kings. I had a reputation already. I said, you have to get me out of here ASAP, because if they even have it's going to hit gangland. I was scared it was going to hit gangland because shit leaks. So if you don't get me out of here, if I cooperate and it hits gangland, it's going to be all over the street, which it hit gangland the next day, bro. Right. After I got out of there. That's how fast it went there. So when I told them, they says, okay, we're going to get you out of here. They called for me and says, Borrello, medical. They called me down for medical, and then I never came back.
Right.
I told them, I don't know what's going on. I went down to medical, and I was gone. They put me in Somerset County, a regular county prison, under a fake name.
Okay, so
and waited for me to get into the WIDSEC jail, because you got to take a lie detector test, you got to do all the bullshit to get in there.
What is that? That's the whole thing. I don't know what any of that is.
Oh, when you go into the WIDSEC units, right? You can't just go in. You have to be approved by everybody, and it takes like a year.
Okay.
You have to wait to get in there.
So what?
Because you got to understand something. There could be there's only 6 units.
Yeah, I was going to say, everybody always thinks that, you can say they'll put you in witness protection. No. Like, it's a big deal to get you in there. Like, it's not like they're doing 2,000 of these guys a year. I think the whole program has ever taken
people beg to get
1,000.
in there. I was an automatic shoo-in because I'm testifying against organized crime, so we're automatic. Right. Like, there's no if and buts about it. Mafia, it's created for organized crime.
I heard that the number was, and I heard this a few years ago, they said the total number of people that have ever been brought into the program is around between 1,000 to 1,500. Like, that's not a lot of people for 40 fucking years of the program.
In the prison system, you mean?
No, well,
outside.
You think there's more outside?
Yeah, 100%. I know that. But in the prison system, remember, the jail is only 6 units, and it's not a big unit, so it only holds 80 people.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, so there's 80 people there at all times?
It's not even packed, because people are dying to get in there because it's such a sweet spot. There's nothing going on, but you can't get in there. You have to be it has to be where the prosecutors feel like, all right, are you really in danger? Who you telling on? Are you really known? Mine is automatic. I'm going to be in the newspapers. I'm going to be all over the internet. My guys just beat the biggest case in the country. Latanza Heist case. He just won the fucking Latanza case. So I have to go in there. They put me under a fake name. I had to take a lie detector test. And what they ask you in the lie detector test, are you going in here to hurt somebody? Because cartel guys were trying to send people in there to kill the witnesses.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they would
I didn't even think about that.
So let's say you're in Mexico. You're dirt poor.
Yeah.
Your family has nothing. They'll say, hey, listen, go in there, kill a witness. We'll take care of your family. They'll do it.
Right.
Just go in there and kill that guy. He's testifying against so-and-so, a drug leader. So they have to make sure that you're not doing that. They give you a lie detector test. Are you being paid to go in here? All kinds of crazy questions. I passed it, obviously. But they had to get me out of there because I just knocked the guy's teeth out and they were trying to rearrest me. So they had to get me out of there. I didn't exist. So if they fingerprint me, I don't come up. My name's Joey Russo in there. You understand?
Right.
I knocked the guy's teeth out. I caught staph infection. I was pus coming out of it. I couldn't close my hand for a year. Yeah, I knocked him out, knocked his teeth out, and then they were trying to rearrest me. So my prosecutors are trying to say, you can't rearrest him. It's going to pop up. We have to get him out of that. You cannot do that. You can't fingerprint him. He's a huge witness against the Mafia. They didn't want to hear it. How I got out of it, the warden says that in his, this is crazy. This is how corrupt it is. I'm sorry, not to say corrupt, but it's just how much they work together.
Yeah, they work together. Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry, I have to say this, but I was so wrong. I hit him with a chair afterwards on top of it. Like, I not only knocked him out, knocked his teeth out, I took a chair and smacked him across his head with it. Like, I was fucked. Like, you have no idea. And there was no signs of him being aggressive. He didn't want to clean the phone after he sneezed on it. He said something nasty to me, and I just wrecked him. There was no signs of him doing anything aggressive towards me. And the warden goes, in my 30 years of experience, I feel he was defending himself. You can't make this shit up. And they didn't arrest me and got me into Woodsack. Okay? So that's how much, like, when they need you,
they're going to look the other way.
Yeah, and, it's on camera, me just wrecking this guy and beating him with a chair, and the warden stuck up for me.
So what? So once you're in witness protection,
yeah.
I mean, how, like, are they? So you're in a special unit.
Yeah, Farrington.
Okay, so you're in a special unit. So, like, listen, when they were coming to question me, it was, I went 6 months before I saw anybody.
Right,
and then of course they have to fly everybody in. They're at a fucking hotel somewhere, and then they're seeing you every day for 4 or 5 days, 10 hours a day. So I'm wondering, are these people, are they coming,
so
going,
coming? Well, organized crime cases, they have a lot more funding. You know what I'm saying? So they have like unlimited funding almost when it's testifying against Mafia. They spent $7 million on the Latanza case and lost it. They spent $7 million. So they have unlimited funds when it comes to these kind of high profile people. So they had me basically in an area where they have like safe houses.
Right.
Or like places where they have like, the door was crazy. Like you go inside like a building and it's like on the 6th floor of like a commercial building where it's like other businesses. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you just go up to the 6th floor, and then they have like codes, and they go into like these rooms.
But you're still cuffed up.
Not when I go in the room.
Oh, not when you go. Okay,
they take everything off.
Okay, but I mean, they're coming. I'm saying, are they coming? They're coming to the witness protection unit.
Not the witness protection. When I'm in the regular county prison, they were taking me out to do profits from there.
Okay.
I gotta sit down with them once a week. I got 1,000 crimes to go over, so I gotta come out with them twice a week, once a week.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
You're handcuffed. You're walked.
Not when I'm going into that building.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering. Are you in the car? They take the handcuffs
everything off. Well, it becomes you're in their property. You go in the thing, and they walk you into like a building, like a commercial. It's like almost a building where there's other people, like businesses going on.
Right.
You go on the elevator. You go to the special floor. To get in there is all like those big, those lock pads, like those digital shits. Yeah. They go in there. Then you start seeing government pictures all over the wall. Bang. Now you know you're with them.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden you go into another and you go sit in the room. That's it. And there's all kinds of profit rooms.
And then what? 2-3 people come in? Or
no, my prosecutors are there and the agents. I was with the same people every time.
Okay.
Remember, they just lost the biggest case in the country. They're devastated. They're embarrassed. They're all over the front page of the paper. They had more media attention than any mob case ever in the history of Mafia. I'm working with the exact team that just lost.
Right.
They're fucking furious. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They had wiretaps this guy going, I killed him, buried under a house. They found the bones. He still beat it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they found the guy under a house and he still got found not guilty. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They found the bones.
Yeah.
He told them where it was on wiretap and they still didn't find him guilty.
Something's wrong there.
What do you mean? It's crazy. So I'm sitting with the Quadrateri, who's a known chief of organized crime, Lindsey Gertis. So when you have organized crime cases, you get the best of the best of the best.
Right.
Murder trial specialist, this specialist, that specialist. So I'm sitting with the best prosecutors in the building. You know what I'm saying? Harvard, Yale. I mean, talking about like, the elite. So,
Right.
and then I'm sitting with these agents and the prosecutors, and then you go over everything with them for hours. I'm talking about you start at 7 a.m. with me till like 7 p.m, bro.
Yeah.
Literally, because I had so much shit to go over and wiretaps and things. Because remember, I'm 2,200 pages out of the wiretaps out of 15,000. So I was a big part of this case.
Right.
So I had to go over so much stuff with them. I'm with Ronnie G every day. He's a captain. I'm with Vinny every day. He's a fucking consigliere. Why is a kid with these people? You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to put everything together. Why are you with them? Like,
Right.
I'm just trying to, they knew, but you have to break down everything you ever did in your life, bro.
Right.
From fucking stealing candy at 7 years old to fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. I had to sign the contract, and then my lawyer stopped coming because they were comfortable with me.
Yeah,
My lawyer had to be there, and after like the first time, it's like, no, he's good, he's easy going, And
Right.
my lawyer didn't have to come no more, and then I would be with the agents and the prosecutors every single time.
First of all, the whole cooperating thing, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but the federal sentencing guideline or whatever, the committee or thing, they did a whole thing back in like, I want to say 2004, 3, where they did a whole review and they broke the entire country up by the districts and told how many people are cooperating, what the cooperation is. Like, these people typically get 30%. These people are like 51%.
New York don't have that. New York, you get 80% off.
No, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm saying New York was a part of it. I don't remember what it was,
Yeah.
but I remember when I was in prison.
Florida's horrible.
Like,
It's like 15% off, right?
It was going around.
Yeah.
50. I wish
15,
it was
15.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say hell no. It was
nothing.
more like yeah, it was like 20%, 25%.
It's horrible.
I was in Georgia. Georgia was no better than Florida. It was
No.
probably 22, 23%. And it depends on the crime, by the way.
Yeah.
If it's, let's say it's if it's violent or something like that, it's a lot. If it's fraud, if it's gang related, like, they have different variations. If it's, I think, like, if you could give them, like,
Do you know what a New York saying is? It's not what you're telling on, it's who you're telling on. If you're telling on a big time guy, you're walking the fuck out. I'm sorry. It's just what it is. You can have as many murders as you want. If you're telling on the right people, New York, you're walking out.
Right.
You're walking out. I have all my friends to prove it. My friend was a serial killer, basically. He was blowing, bro, he was telling me stories in the box. I was like, how is this guy? I said, I don't even feel safe for this guy coming out.
Right.
He was pulling guys out of holes with meat hooks. You gave the guy 8 years? I was like, think about that. They don't care. If you give them what they want in New York, they'll give you a second chance.
So how long is your process? What I'm trying to say is that,
Yeah.
like, there's 100% from the government. Like, there's cooperation across the board. It's
Yeah.
something like there were some people that almost always, like, fraud. It was like 92% of all fraud cases cooperate. The drugs was like 87%. Like,
Oh, bro, I'll be honest with you. The gang members are the worst. See, they just not glorified like the mob.
well, I think the difference was this. Keep in mind, they have a whole subsection. The difference is that's cooperation that's given. Doesn't mean that 99% didn't try and cooperate, but these guys cooperate, and then they don't get, you might say, oh, it's that you tried to cooperate, but it didn't lead to any arrests, so you don't get the cooperation.
You don't get shit.
Right. So people are like, oh, it's not that high. No, it's like 87%
It's like John Jr.
get cooperation.
It's like John Jr.
Right. Okay. Why? What
It didn't-
happened with him?
Because he was undermining. He didn't want to, like when he was cooperating, he was trying to blame everything on his father.
Yeah, you can't.
So,
do
but
that,
I'm saying, if you look, I'll tell you a funny thing. With gang members, if there's a 90-man indictment, 70 of them are cooperating. 70 of them will cooperate. But you want to know why? They're nobodies. You're not going to hear about it in the paper. One mob guy cooperates, or on the front page.
Right.
So you don't hear about it. The gangs are the worst. The Bloods, the gang members, they all telling like crazy. And then they'll go change their nickname and join a different gang in a different borough. I swear to God. They'll go from E-Money to something else, and they'll go be in a different gang set, and they won't even know. They just tore down a whole building in Brooklyn. Now they're in the Bronx, gang banging.
When I cooperated, and it came out on the front page of the St. Pete Times,
Right.
and then they throw me into the shoe.
Right.
I'm in the shoe, so I'm in the shoe for 45 days.
Lucky
And by,
you.
by the time they come to get me, just to talk to me, they come, they sit down, they go, okay, look, we're gonna have you out, or here. They said, first of all, do you feel safe here? Like, do you understand what happened? They showed the picture. I said, yeah, I get it. And this is the medium. And he goes, listen, he said, we can ship you. And I said, no. I said, I want to go back. And he was like, yeah, you might have some problems. I go, bro, if you scream snitch on this compound, half the compound turns around. He goes, oh no. He goes, it's much worse than that.
Yeah, of course.
Much worse.
But but listen, like I said, a lot of guys can't get a deal and they want a deal. Like in the feds, I don't know if you know how it works. There's never ending cooperation in the feds. Like I had a friend of mine from Washington, D.C. I was in the units with him, right? And everyone talks about their cases. And he blew trial in D.C., and D.C. has really fucked up drug laws. They gave him 5 consecutive life sentences for drugs. It was the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. He was in Marion, I believe, one of those big maxes, one of those really bad maxes where they're killing each other all the time. He was in there for a couple of years, and all of a sudden, an Aryan brother stabs a guy to death in front of him. And now when somebody gets killed in there, they come around with a white shirt will come around.
Did you see anything?
Yeah, wait, yeah. Now, you know, in there, if you talk to that cop too long, they're going to fucking kill you.
Right.
So it's like this. He said he went like that to him. He's in there for 8 years. He's sick. He's done with this shit. He goes, this is my opportunity. He goes, and he went like this to them. Wait, all you got to do is give the head nod. They'll make like they didn't see it. They came back and got him 3 months later. Had him testify in a jail murder. He got 27 years. His 5 life sentences turned to 27. So you could always cooperate in the system. Yeah. On a jail murder, they turned his 5 life sentences to 27 years. Which is amazing when you think you're never coming out again, and now you have a chance at life.
Yeah, you can see the
right.
light.
You know what I'm saying? So they have a thing called Rule 35. It's after cooperation. You know, only 5. You can only get 1 5K letter per case. So if you could cooperate on multiple cases, you get multiple 5Ks. But let's say you start off with 100 years. The judge screwed you over, and you could cooperate against so-and-so and this so-and-so. You keep getting Rule 35s. There's no limit to them. 9 years off, 8 years off, 6 years off. They could just keep knocking time off. So when you're in the feds, my lawyer said you have to be careful because people jump on your case. And because they can get a Rule 35 on you. A guy could be sitting down 35 years. He's been down 8 years. He hears you talk about something. Go call a prosecutor, get a Rule 35 on you. It happens all the time.
I mean, I know it does.
Yes. Happens all the time.
I had a guy who I was walking on the compound. And one day he tells me where he hit a bunch of money. I fucking told my lawyer, hey, listen, this is what happened. You know, I said, you know, I don't think they're going to give me. They didn't want to give me anything the first time. Right. They're not going to do this. I was like, it's maybe 100,000, 150,000. It's nothing. And she made a phone call. One day, one of the COs comes to me and says, hey, you got to go to SIS at the next move. Like, kind of like, hey, cops. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like,
you got to be careful going to see SIS.
Well, here's the thing. I used to be in and out of there all the time because I was writing guys' stories. So I was getting Freedom of Information Act. Right. Let's say I order it on you and I'm writing a story on you. It'd be sent to me. If they'd catch it in the mailroom, they'd call me and they go, okay, what's this? And I go, I'm writing a story on the guy. And they'd be like, oh, okay. But they already knew I'd already got guys involved.
Guys were okay with that in the joint?
They were, because I already knew. Keep in mind, by this point, I've got 2 books, and I've put some guys in Rolling Stone magazine. So guys already know. They're like, oh, he's writing that guy's story. And I'm walking around with guys with a fucking pen and paper. Right. This is at the low, bro. Everybody's fucking cooperating.
The low is different. Yeah. You're not doing that in a medium high or a pen. They're going to stab you off the yard in 2 seconds.
No, I kept it myself. Yeah. So, but what happened? They call me in there. I walk in. He goes, Cox, come here, sit down. I got to and I'm sitting there like, I'm waiting for my fucking mail. Like, I'm assuming. Picks up the phone, says, you got to talk to this guy. Boom, it's a Secret Service agent. Yeah. And when I went to go leave, he said, hey, do you want me to write something up? And I go, what do you mean? He said, like, I can write you like a dummy shot that you can show. Yeah. And I looked at him, I said, bro, I don't know. It's
a low.
Yeah, I was like, come on, bro. Like, I'm one of the, unfortunately, this is how bad it is. I'm one of the tougher guys in my fucking compound. Right. Like, I'm like, no, I'm good.
That's how, I know. Yeah. You know, so what'd they give you on that? Did they help you? Did they knock off any time?
They knocked off 5 years.
That's not bad. Yeah. For Rule 35, you got, right? And you get it in the mail. You didn't go in front of a judge, you got it in the mail, right? Because the ones that we get.
That one I got in the mail, yes.
Because they'll go when I was in the units.
They could have brought me back. So they just didn't.
I'll tell you a crazy one. My friend, do you remember the kid in the Bronx that got killed with the machete in the store? It was a real fucked up crime. The Batias killed in the Dominican gang.
Unfortunately, I've heard that before in New York. Guys getting fucking stabbed.
All right. So anyway, they were part of this gang, the Batias. They're a known Dominican gang. They're brutal. They're fucking savages. And they killed this kid anyway. So Muto was already locked up, but he had that in the hole. Like he knew he could help on that case. Yeah. This is all he had to do for 5 years off, like you just got. All he had to do was be a credible witness and explain to the judge. He already had 15 years for cooperating. He got a bad deal. In New York, it's a bad deal. Even though he had 2 heinous murders, it was still bad guys that he killed. He thought he was going home. The judge says, no, your crime is too heinous. You killed the guy with a machete. It's too personal. I'm not letting you go. I'm giving you 15 years. He was heartbroken, devastated. He told on all his friends, whatever. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like 3 more years in. We just need you to be a character witness and explain to the jury because he's coming down on appeal. Right. The guy's coming down on appeal. We just need you to explain what the gang is and how it operates, and we'll give you Route 35. He's like, there's no way. Bro, went home. Went home for explaining to a jury, this is how New York is, what the fucking gang does and what his operation, what his role was. He got it in the mail. He goes, bro, I'm going home. He just got it in the mail.
Wasn't there, didn't
see it, I go home in 2 weeks. Meanwhile, he's supposed to go home in 7 more years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. We're like, what are you talking about? He's, bro, they're sending me home. He goes, it worked. He goes, I went down there. He was gone for 2 months. Went down there. He was stuck in the hole the whole time. No, went down there, did what he had to do, came back. All of a sudden, like 3 months later, he goes, yo, I'm going home in 2 weeks. He was bugging out. That's how it works.
So my cousin, I'm at the medium. My cousin gets 23 years.
Right.
He gets 23 years. Fuck, I don't know if it's 23, but whatever, close to 23 years for meth.
I seen that. They crush people with meth.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
well, he's been in and out of fucking jail.
No,
his
but
whole
they're bad
life.
with the meth.
This was in Florida. He gets 23 years. He said, I get there, I show up. Well, no, sorry. He's about to get 23 years. Let me put it that way. He's about to get 23 years. So he actually went, I think this was the same time he went to plead guilty. Goes to plead guilty with this young kid. The kid's like 22 years old. Colby's heard the story. So they go in, he gets sentenced. He goes in, he's in the holding tank, the little Marshall's holding tank. So he's sitting there. He said, there's about 4 or 5 Mexican guys there. Nobody speaks English. He said this one Mexican walks in, and he said the other white guy in there sits up. The kid sits up, and he's like, fuck. The Mexican walks right over, sits down, looks at him, and he says, if you don't fucking come off my witness list in the next fucking week, he said, I'm gonna have your fucking mother killed and your sister killed. And he goes, you live at 3802, and he names the fucking address. And the kid's like, oh, I don't even know why I'm on that list. I wasn't going to cooperate. I shouldn't even be on the list. He's like, my lawyer better tell me in the next week that you're off the fucking list. Kid's freaking out. So they end up going back to the unit. The kid comes to Reese. He doesn't read or write. He goes, can you write this letter? Help me write this letter to the prosecutor. And he goes, I'll help you write the letter. But that kid, he ain't going to do nothing. And he's like, no, you don't know these people. So my cousin writes the letter for him. They send it off. My cousin ends up a couple of weeks later, whatever, gets 23 years, goes to the medium at Coleman. He said, I'm there about 2 months. And he said, after about 2-3 months, he said, I'm on the pack out. I got to go on the pack out. And he said, I did have
they killed the family?
No, he said, I did have a case.
Yeah.
He said, I did have like a DUI case or something. I thought, fuck, they're going to take me back to Florida for the case.
Yeah.
So he gets on the bus, he goes back. He goes, I'm there 2 weeks. I don't know what the fuck I'm there for.
Yeah.
I'm in the federal building.
Right.
Not the county. He said, so one day they call, hey, cuff up. He cuffs up. He goes to the federal building. They put him in an elevator. He's like, what's going on? What's going on? They put him in a little room in the U.S. Attorney's office. U.S. Attorney walks in and looks at him and says, no, actually, he said, they were in a conference room. He walks in the conference room. The U.S. Attorney was already there. And he looks at me. He's like, what's going on? He said, 2 months ago, you were in a fucking holding tank with this guy, and he names the kid. He said, someone walked in and sat down and said something. What did they say? My cousin goes, you have to know my cousin. He goes, what do you want him to have said? He goes, don't fuck with me, bro. He goes, what did the guy say? He said he was going to kill, if he didn't come off the witness list, he was going to kill his mother and his sister, and he named his address. He goes, as a matter of fact, when we got back to the unit, he said, I wrote the letter to you for the kid because he doesn't write so well.
Right.
And he went, will you testify to that? He goes, you going to take care of me? And he goes, I'm going to take care of you. He goes, absolutely, I'll testify. He goes, okay. Turned him around, went back. He said, I go back to fucking Coleman. He goes, 3-4 months go by. One day I'm on the pack out. Go all the way back. Didn't get this in the mail, by the way. Goes all the way back, goes in front of the judge. He said, I'm still not knowing what it is. He said, I go up, they're like, oh, you're going to court. He's like, for what?
Yeah.
He said, I forgot about it. Goes in. He said, I walk in. I see the fucking prosecutor. I walk up. He looks at him, and he's like, what's going on? He said, I'm taking care of you. And judge comes in. He said, this man agreed to testify, blah, blah, blah. They pled guilty, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, because of his thing.
Because he
How much what state is this? What state is this?
This was Florida. Knocked 25%. So he went from 23 years down to like 15 or 16.
Oh, all right.
Right? Not
Still
bad.
something.
For what?
For nothing.
I walked in a room. Didn't have to testify nothing. Walked in a room. Put him back on the bus, went back.
Yeah, on 15 you do 12. So it's a lot better, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, basically same thing as me, about 12, 13.
Yeah, on 15 you do 12.8. Yeah. Without the halfway house, you know what I'm saying? So that's not bad.
Very quick calculation there.
But I know all the guidelines, you know that. On 15 you do 12.8, guys. That's known. 12.8.
So yeah, I know tons of, listen, everybody there. I was locked up with a guy in the shoe, black guy, had been in the fucking pen.
Right.
We're in the shoe.
You testify on murders in there.
Yeah,
they go all the time.
Well, he's in the shoe. He got like 25 years. Right. He's one of these guys constantly asking the guard, can I use the phone? Can I use the phone? It's like, you use the phone once a fucking week. He's every day. Can I use the phone? So they're letting him use the phone 2-3 times a week. Gets on the phone with his son. His son had got kicked out or suspended from school. He was wrestling. Top wrestler, everything.
Right.
He's on the phone trying to tell his son, you can't be fighting, you can't be doing this, you can't be doing that. Hangs up the phone. Somehow or another, he and I end up are talking about cooperation because he's snitches this, the snitch put me here, snitch this.
He's trying to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, well, what happened was, and then he tells me a story. He said, when I was at the pen, he had a guy he played handball with every day. He said that guy, he said, we were cool. He said, well, like, I didn't think we weren't this cool, but he said he felt we were. He said the guy comes up to him one time and says, look, he says, my girl knows some drug dealers. And he's like, okay. And he says, we're on the racquetball court, just stops. And he goes, my girl knows some drug dealers that she can bust. Get me out of here. And he'd been locked at like 15 fucking years, and he has on a 25-year sentence or something. He said, man, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, yes, it's called, and he explains to him, it's called Rule 35.
Third-party cooperation.
Right.
All of it,
She's going to cooperate. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. And he looks at him and he goes, man, I don't want to fucking hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. He's like, I don't want to know, I don't want to be associated. This guy's talking about snitching and shit. I don't want nothing to do with that. Tells him the whole thing. He said, 3 months go by. The guy tells him, he says, my girl busted them fucking guys. He's like, man, I told you I don't want to hear nothing about that. 6 months go by. He says, bro, them dudes all pled guilty. He said, I don't say nothing. I'm like, whatever. He said, 3 more months go by.
He's gone.
He said one day he's walking. He's going up to the wreck. He said, I'm supposed to like meet him. And he's passing him.
Well, you already know this guy's suspect because the guy already told him he's cooperating. He's still playing handball. So you already know the time it is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so he sees him and he's like, bro, you going to meet me out there? He said, no. He said, I'm leaving. Next day, he's doing his job and sees him with his bags and says to him, he goes, bro, what are you doing? You getting transferred? He goes, I told you, motherfucker, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving.
He went home.
He said, if you're smart, you'll do the same fucking thing.
Right.
And he walks off. He said, dude went home.
Right.
Now, we're in there and he's telling me his story. He's all disgusted, right? Yeah, the fucking snitch motherfucker. I'm saying nothing, bro. This fucking guy just got out of the pen.
Right.
He's at the medium.
Right.
And he's been in the medium a month. He's already in the shoe going back to the pen. So I'm sitting there like, oh, yeah, that's fucked up. I don't want to get killed. So I'm sitting there like, yeah. So he sits there. He's like, yeah, he's going on and on. I said, well, I got a question for you. And he said, what? I said, and then he told me, he said, can you believe I told my fucking girl that? And then she told me she knew some motherfuckers. He goes, and she's fucking a dude now. He's a big time drug dealer, blah, blah, blah. But she wants me home. Okay, she got his kid, whatever. But he's his baby. It's his baby's mama. And he's on the phone with the kid fucking every couple of days.
She lines him up?
Yeah, and I said to him, and I'm sitting there going, bro, I said, listen, let me tell you something. I said, do you think your son, when he's playing, when he's wrestling, and he looks up in the fucking stands, do you think that when all of his buddies say, hey, there's my mom, there's my dad, there's my cousin, there's my dad, and they say all that stuff, I said, do you think that your son's going to look up there and think that stand is empty? And tell all of his buddies, yeah, my dad's not here, but he's a stand-up guy.
No.
I said, your son don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Your son would rather look up there and say, there's my fucking dad.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's all that fucking matters. I said, I mean, you do what you want to do. And so we talk about it for the next day or two. He gets on the phone with his girl and he says, you know that thing you told me about? He goes, yeah, I think you need to call the guy. Because she'd already been approached by his DEA agent. She was saying, I can call him.
Right.
This guy had already been locked up like fucking 10 years.
Right.
So he calls her.
Well, I'm 25. You got to do 22.
Yeah.
So you're in there for a while.
Yeah, he's got some time.
12 more years, bro.
He calls. While I'm there, he gets the, you know what, I remember that dude's name was Griffin. I always thought that was the coolest fucking name. Anyway, he gets the ball started right there just by being in the room with me for 2 fucking days. Like,
right.
I'm potent. Anyway, honestly, he'd been thinking about it anyway.
100%.
So it happens all the fucking time.
You know what's funny, Matt? And we talk about third party cooperation.
Right.
There's a big thing going on right now. I don't know if you've ever heard of Big Meech.
Yeah.
So with him, and I wanted to break that down. I'm glad I'm on your show today. 50 Cent, obviously, I'm a huge fan of 50. I grew up watching him, listening to him and everything. And I could break down that whole thing what Big Meech did. Big Meech sat with the government. There's no ifs and buts about it.
Right.
See, with third party cooperation, the way that he's doing it, if it's not like how you just said, a new crime where he's setting somebody up out there,
Yeah.
then you don't have to sit with the government. Your people just, do it. I think he got somebody locked up on old crimes, if when I'm not mistaken, right? Didn't the guy get arraigned? So if you're giving them something that you've done with this man before, you can't take it to third party. You understand?
Okay.
So, like, let's say me and you, all right, look, what you just described to me, you said the girl's going to set people up, right?
Right.
That's third-party cooperation, and you can give the credit to me. So you're out there on the street, and I tell you, hey, Matt, go set up so-and-so for 2 bricks with these agents, and I'm going to get the credit for you doing it. That's
Right.
third-party cooperation. I don't have to sit with the government if I never cooperate. That's fine. You just get the credit from you.
Right.
Now, if I'm saying you did something to so-and-so back in the day, I have to do an agreement. I have to sit with the government. There's no third-party cooperation.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Well, it's first party. It's you.
yeah,
You're
you
telling them.
cannot do third-party cooperation like that. The only way third-party cooperation is just the way you said it, what the girls are doing and all that stuff. Where they're helping you. They're helping you get out. They're not giving previous crimes that you did with somebody. You can't do that. The government won't allow it.
Right.
You have to go sit with the government. You have to sign contracts. You have to go tell them everything. Once you step into that room, there's no holding back. You have to tell them everything you did in your whole life. So right now, Big Meech probably gave them everything he ever did in his life. He probably gave them unsolved murders. You don't even know. So right now, it's coming out that he's cooperating. It's no third party. His party.
Yeah.
He was with them. He sat with the government. There's no ifs, buts about it. Unless he did it your way. Like you just said. His girl went out there and bust somebody and gave him the credit.
I think that I feel like that. I'm actually supposed to do a video on this, and I don't know much
It's still
about it.
cooperating. You're still
Yeah,
labeled
it's-
no good. But at the end of the day, listen, I don't know the exact how it went down, but if he got somebody locked up from an old crime that he did with the person,
Yeah.
there's no third party. There's
So-
no third party.
Right.
That means Big Meech was in the room with the government and gave them all kinds of information. And you can't just give them what you want. You can't just say, oh, hey, I'm going to cooperate with this guy, but not that guy. They'll say, okay, get lost.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. I tried doing that.
Or even better, by the way.
What?
There's a guy, I know a guy who, and listen, like everybody, the government, like they're dirty.
Yeah.
They will look for they can know from the get-go, we're not going to give this guy nothing, but we'll take everything he's going to say and we'll use it.
Well, they can't do that. I'll tell you what they could do. They could only, so here's the deal with that. And they broke that down to me. They can question. They can't go to the exact things that you gave them, but they could work around it. You understand? Like they explained to me how that goes. I'm like, well, what if I give you this stuff and you don't use me? They says, well, with that, we can't exactly, like if I told them where the body was.
They can't go dig up the body and charge the guy and they give you nothing. No, I understand.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is this, is that I knew a guy, I've mentioned him before, but anyway, his name's Kevin. So let's go with Kevin. He went to trial.
Right.
First of all, I love the trial thing, by the way. Like, this is a great example. First of all, he's running a financial scam. He goes to first they come to him and they go, look, we got you. You're indicted. You're fucked.
Right.
We'll give you, and I don't know the exact numbers because I think I've told this story probably a year ago, but they say, look, we're going to give you 5 years. And if you plead guilty and testify against these other people.
See, it don't work like that with the New York.
Okay.
They can't do that. I'm surprised they allow that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
you know how many people I know they've said 3 years
They're
and
not
they go
supposed
to
to see. They're not by the law. They're not supposed to do that. They
the
can't
federal
promise
system?
you. Yeah, they can't promise you nothing.
Well, no, they're not
Yeah,
promising.
no, they can't even give you a number ahead of time. They have to give you a guideline. You cop out and you get sentenced by a judge.
No, I know
Yeah.
that. I know what you're saying, but what
Yeah.
I'm saying is they're saying, I don't want to do that here because I
Right.
don't want to say, they're going to say, we'll hit you for 2 levels and we'll give
Yeah.
you this enhanced. Like they craft it where I'm going to be in this range.
Right.
His range was around 5 years. So you're in the 5-year range, whatever. So he's like, okay. He's like, okay. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to plead guilty. I didn't do anything wrong. He goes to trial. He loses. He gets, I'm going to say 25 years.
They always
I think
max
it.
it.
I think
Yeah.
it was 30, but
Oh, my God.
whatever. So let's say 25. So he gets 25 years. That's not true, bro. He did a fucking ton of time. I want to say it's 30. He gets 30 years. Then they come back to him and they say, listen. So they say, listen, your co-defendant is going to trial.
Testify against you.
And this co-defendant, like these guys are going
Okay,
to
well.
testify against them. We'll cut your shit in half. 15 years, right? We'll cut it in half, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we'll recommend.
Right.
He says, "Fuck you." He says, "I'm gonna win on appeal." And they go, "Okay." The guy goes to trial. He loses, and that guy gets like 20 years. Another co-defendant goes to trial. They say, "Go to trial. We'll still give you testify. We'll give you something. Well, you can get down to around 20 years." And he says, "Fuck you. I'm gonna beat you on my 2255." And he loses. They go to trial. He doesn't. They get found guilty. He loses on his 2255. So
Stubborn.
yeah, idiot. So then now he's got 30 years. He then turns around. This is after he's been locked up like it's now been 5-6 years.
Right.
His sister comes to him and says, listen, I know a guy who's a drug dealer. He likes me. I understand there's something called a third party rule 35. And he goes, yes, there is.
Yeah.
And so she contacts the prosecutor, puts her in contact with like a DEA agent. He shouldn't, but he does. He makes promise. Oh, absolutely. I'm going to get him out. He's going to get cooperation. He says all these things, which he can't say, but whatever, he does it. So when I say she sets this guy up, the drug dealer, with a boatload of drugs, she gives them a boatload of fucking drugs.
They didn't give him anything? They didn't give him
fucking thing. And then he files a...
They didn't like him.
Of course, he went to trial, and he was an obnoxious prick.
They didn't like him. If they don't like you, they'll fuck you.
And on his appeal, he files a...
Well, look at Gas Pipe.
Well, hold on. He files a bunch of motions. Your Honor, this phone call. I have this. They promised me this. Like he's been doing legal work. He's got it.
I'm surprised he didn't get nothing with the evidence.
He got nothing.
Rule 35 is up to a judge. They give you a day off if they want. You know that, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I know.
It's up to a judge.
But here's what he said. This is actually what the response said. It says it in the motion. I read the fucking motion. This was before Osama bin Laden got caught. They said if Kevin, whatever his name is, if Kevin were to give us the location to Osama bin Laden, he doesn't get 1 day off his sentence. It said that in the motion.
No, they didn't like this guy.
Robert Mazakowski, which is the U.S. attorney here now.
That's different. They hated him then. That's different.
He went to trial.
Yeah, no, that's different because that's not how it works. But usually you could go up to a judge and the Rule 35, he could give you 10 days off. You don't have to give you 5 years off. So it's really up. The federal judge could just say, yeah, I'm giving you 2 days off.
But see, in some jurisdictions, some districts like New York, California, there's 4 or 5 of them where you can file like a motion. It's called a specific performance motion, like it compulses them to file something. In Florida, you can't.
Right.
Like in Florida, Georgia, most of the districts, you can say, Your Honor, I got 100% guarantee. This is what they promised. Like they said this. They don't give a fuck.
No, it's super strict. Cooperation sucks out in these states. I'm telling you, Texas is horrible too. You got guys with telling on. They still come back with 20-year sentences after cooperation. They're not good. It's not how the way New Jersey is a lot better than most states, and New York is the absolute best. You know what I mean? You could, if you have a drug case and you're given murders, you're walking out the door when you go to court. When you get sentenced, if you have a year in, you're gone. No violence, and you're giving them what they want. The day you go to court, you're going home. You could they'll tell you how you have clothes waiting for you. They told my mother that.
What's lead
They told my mother that, and I'm like, "There's no way." I'm like, "You sure?" They says, "Yo, bring clothes." I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Bring clothes. Tell your mom to bring clothes." In other words, I'm walking out the courtroom.
So what's lead pipe? What happened?
Gas pipe was a boss of the Lucchese family. He killed, I don't know, 30-something people. He had 30-something murders. He had 30-something, no exaggeration, he had 30-something murders. They gave him a deal. He gave up Vic Amuso, a lot of guys. What happened was he was going to get his chance to go home. They probably had him doing like 12 years. He gets into a beef in Farrington, and he creates a blackjack and beats the guy with it. The prosecutor goes, okay, you killed 30-something people. You're now beating a man nearly to death in our WIDSEC units. Now you're going to do life in prison, and gave him no time off.
Yeah.
Because you
but
show
you
that
understand that, right?
Listen, look, yes, because not only did you, a fight is one thing. Like I knocked the guy's teeth out, and that was bad, but I didn't even have my thing set yet. I knocked his teeth out and just beat him with a chair, but I didn't try to kill him.
Right.
You try to kill a guy in WIDSEC, and you're a homicidal maniac. You done tortured people, you killed people, you have dozens and dozens of murders. You're not going back out in the street.
Well, they're basically WIDSEC. They're trying to give you a reset. Like you can go live. They want that supposedly. Like they're hoping you go out.
Yeah.
You get a normal job. You become a regular citizen. You put this shit behind you. Like that's the goal, right? Whether it happens or not, two different things.
Right. So I feel like, and it also depends on who your prosecutor is and who the agents are. Because if you get dicks, you know that's not good. If you get people that deep down really don't like you and they don't really they feel like you're a no good person, but they need your information, you're fucked. You know what I'm saying? I seen that. Joe Messino blew trial, and they still gave him only 10 years. He blew trial. The day after he blew trial, that's our old boss. He called the agents up right after he blew trial, the boss of all bosses. He blew trial. The next day, he's on the phone with the FBI.
Right.
So everyone thought he was stand up, taking his life sentence, and he just started wearing a wire in jail on Vinnie Gorgeous. And that's how it started, and they gave him 10 years in prison.
So the guy, your boss,
Joe Messino. First
Okay.
boss of boss. He was the boss of all bosses.
So we had talked one time, and you said that he was about to get out, but you don't.
No, Ronnie G. You're
Ronnie,
talking
I
about.
was gonna
Yeah,
say, yeah, I thought it was- okay.
Ronnie's supposed to get out. He's supposed to have cancer right now, supposedly.
How old is he?
54. But I'm hearing rumors that he's getting out. He's not. I don't know, because I feel like if he was medically sick, he'd be gone. Because do you see the people that are letting out right now?
Yeah.
They just let out Anthony Setta, who had 14 murders. Patty Testa. These guys were serial killers for the Giannini crew. They
Right.
just got out. They did 20-something years. They're releasing all these murderers now.
But they're
The
old
government.
men.
Don't matter. You killed 12 people. You convicted of killing 12 people. You didn't cooperate. You killed 12 people. One guy, you rammed a broomstick up his ass. You understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I
These were
understand.
heinous-
They're bad people.
Heinous murders. So if Ronnie did have cancer,
Why wouldn't they let him out?
yeah, I would let him right out. I think that it's more, maybe he is sick, but not sick enough to release him.
Well,
You know what I'm
how
saying?
much time did he get?
14 years.
How much time has he done?
He's been down since March of 2017. So he's got almost a little over 8 years. No, almost 8 years.
That's
Almost
50
a full 8 years in.
50% of your fucking time. Like that seems.
He's trying to get out
reasonable.
now. He's supposed to come home 2029, but from what I was told, there's the agents don't talk. I'm not allowed to talk to them. I'm cut off. They cut
Right.
me off years ago.
Why?
I kept getting in trouble. I'm banned from prosecutors and agents. That's real. Like
Right.
they're not allowed to talk to me. That's how bad it was. That's how much they hated me. They tried to really put me back in prison. Like they were mad at me over the podcast stuff, everything. So I have no contact with them at all. But one of my other friends does, and he
Right.
says that Ronnie's not getting out. That's fake.
Okay.
He goes, we would know. So that's why I told that. I says, oh, is he getting out? And the agent that was on our case told my friend that's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, but he actually is the agents that were on the case.
Yeah.
You know, they hated Ronnie. I can tell you that. They did not like him. Like there was a guy, like they wanted him. Like they did not like him. Like, you know, agents, they took it personal. Like they wanted him off the street.
Yeah.
He was only supposed to get 8 years. The judge gave him 14. Think about that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's how much they didn't like this guy. They actually lied to him. They made him cop out to guidelines, and they said that he would get that, and the judge went completely over. And that's what he was appealing. He keeps losing his appeals. They didn't like him. They okey-doked him to take like these guidelines where he
Right.
think he'd only get 8 years, worst case scenario, and the judge gave him 14. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be home already. They did not like him.
So,
you know?
so another thing that people ask all the time, and I know the answer to this,
Yeah.
is that, you know, guys are like, well, you got to get it. You know, they offer you something. You got to get it in writing. Do they
No.
give it to you in writing?
No.
No.
They're not allowed to do that.
Right. Well, wait a minute.
You sign a contract.
A U.S. attorney can do it. So you know who Robert Mueller is?
A lot of laws change. When years you cooperate?
No, this is
No, but what year did you cooperate?
2006, 7?
Changed a lot. You know that?
I
Did they
agree.
record in your room when you did it?
No.
No recording, no more. Agents got to write everything. Were you allowed to talk on the phone alone with a prosecutor?
Well, I never tried.
Okay, so you're not allowed no more. You used to be allowed to. Now agent must be on the phone with the prosecutor. A lot of rules change where now you always have to be cuffed at the table with the prosecutors and agents, but they were taking it off of me because they seen I wasn't like, I guess I was cool. I got along with them. There's a new rule where you have to be cuffed now all the time at the profit table.
Right.
But they didn't do that
Well,
with
this
me.
wasn't me. I'm saying this was back in the 90s.
I don't even know how it went
Yeah,
back then.
and
Rules
no,
change, you know what I'm
I
saying?
understand. Even then, they weren't allowed to promise you anything. This guy actually has a letter from Robert Mueller promising him a reduction if he simply sat down and had a conversation with him about what was going on
Yeah.
and if it was true. And I've seen the letter. That's true. But that was Robert Mueller. That was back in the 90s. It was a
Right.
big case.
Right.
That out of all the people I've seen and talked to, it's the only letter I've ever seen ever. And I'm shocked.
Matt, I was with guys that were down from I was with Tony. He was from, you know what case he was from? Joe Spilaccio. The fucking casino movie.
Right.
I actually seen the pictures he had them on the wall of the real Sharon Stone, who the real people. He's been down since 1978. They fucked him over. They gave him, they were supposed to, like what you just said, he testified, he had 6 murders. He was a hitman for the Chicago outfit. He was worked under the boss in Milwaukee. He's supposed to get a time cut. One of his crimes was heinous. He cut the girl's tits off. They had him. What happened was she wouldn't give the property up. She's an innocent person. Not supposed to do that. Mob and Mafia doesn't even allow that. But she wouldn't give they were trying to take the hotels from her, buy it from her. She wouldn't give it to them. Fuck you. So they told her, make it look like a sex crime.
Right.
Make it like it's not from the mob. They killed her and chopped the tits off like it was a sex crime. When he admitted to that, the judge wouldn't give him his deal. The other murders were bad guys. That was an innocent person. You killed an innocent woman.
Right.
Natural life. Screwed him. And they promised him, you're going to go home. like the same thing you just said. But the judge overrules all of that. The federal judge, you can't go against. He has the last say. So no matter what they promise you.
Well, in that letter, in the end, they screwed that guy too. But the point is, I actually saw the letter.
Yeah.
He did have a letter, and they did give him something.
Right.
But he's going in there thinking, I'm getting a huge cut.
Right.
And they gave him like 4 years. It's like, what?
Oh.
4 years? I got 30. He had like 40 years. It's like, what do you mean 4 years?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, that's it. 4 years off of fucking 40? So, but they did have a letter.
But,
so,
you know
but
what?
I've never seen a letter
And
since
it also goes by how you get along with them. If you're a dick with them and you're playing hardball with them, they're not going to be good to you. I'm telling you, it really goes by that prosecutor and them. They have a lot of juice. The judge does have the final say, but it goes by what they write.
Well, listen,
you know what
bro,
I'm saying?
I was very nice to these people.
Yeah.
And some of them had attitudes, and there was nothing I could do.
Well, because you had a lot of money.
Attitude.
They don't like that either, too. They don't like when they want to teach you a lesson when you have like
some of them liked me. Some of them had attitudes.
Yeah.
There was this one chick. She just did not like me. I couldn't do anything right for this fucking
Yeah, I
girl.
got along with all of them very well. They went to above and beyond for me. And when I got sentenced, the agents in the car told me, tell your mother we told them to bring clothes. I'm like, why? They're like, bring clothes, bro. And I got almost 6 years in at the time, but I had 1,000 violent crimes. It was like 1,000, like 1,000. Like it was so many. Like I was like, you sure? Because probation recommended 10 years, even after cooperation, because there was so much violence.
Right.
And I had so much going on. And I've been committing crimes since I'm a kid, shooting, like bad, like broad daylight shootings. I almost killed an innocent woman by accident. I had crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? I was shooting into a car. Ronnie had me shoot into a car, and I almost shot my friend's mother. She was in the car. I was on the boulevard, ongoing traffic, shooting into a car.
Right.
That's a reckless, dangerous. That's bad. You know what I'm saying? I had all these crazy shootings and shooting guys in broad daylight. You know, bad crimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like,
So you weren't filling out paperwork.
No,
Okay.
I'm like, I don't think I'm like,
I did.
yeah, I'm
filling
like,
out some paperwork.
I don't think I'm going home.
Right.
And they're like, bring your clothes. Tell your mom to bring clothes. I'm like, all right. And sure enough, probation said 10 years after cooperation. We feel due to excessive violence. It's, just a lot. And the prosecutor, the Eastern District don't recommend. They won't say we recommend time served, but they won't oppose it if your lawyer asks for it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So they won't say, Your Honor, we want him to go home. They won't do that. They'll just give the whole everything I did. And how they look at it is that I outweighed, even though all the violence I did, it's the caliber of people I told on. Everybody knows in the Eastern District, Vinny Asaro, he just walked out laughing in front of a courtroom, joking that the bodies were in his lawyer's trunk on national news. Did you see that?
No.
He goes, oh, don't open the trunk. There's a body in it. On national front cover after he just beat them. And everybody's laughing. And he just beat murders, and he just jokes around in the thing, goes, oh, don't open the trunk, there's a body in there. You know how embarrassing it is? So I put him back. So it's like, the judge is like, all right, he did 1,000 violent crimes, Ronnie, Vinny, millions of dollars, da-da-da, one of the biggest mob cases for our time. Take care, go home. Time served. Walk out the door. Just walk out. Ooh, that's it. I said, I could leave? He goes, just go. Yeah, you're free. That's it. That was it. Yeah, just like that. And I was like bugged out because I just been serving time. And now I'm just going to walk right out the door. What know what I'm saying?
What did you think,
I thought I was going to get to 10.
What did you think was fair? Like what did you think, like if this is if I get this or less, that's fair?
I would be happy with like 8 years. I would have been okay with that. Like I had to serve another year. I understood that, you know what I'm saying? Because the excessive amounts of, I confessed to 17 shootings.
Right.
I had 17 shootings. That's a lot. I had like over 100 and something on robberies. Home invasions, arsons, assaults, conspiracy to murder, you name it, I had it.
Right.
There wasn't a crime I didn't have except for rape and, that bullshit. Everything else I had. Arson, the lawyer showed I had a laundry list of arsons.
Right.
Like a laundry list. So it was like, all right, if I get 8 years, 7 years, I'd be happy with that. I got to serve like another 8-9 months. But they told me like the week before I went to get sentenced, like, oh, tell your family to bring your clothes with you. Bring clothes with them. I was like, I guess I'm going home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they were right. I walked out the door.
Where were you at that time?
Farrington.
Okay.
And they brought me down to MCC to get sentenced.
But Farrington is the witness protection?
Yeah, it's a regular jail, but there's a unit for us.
Okay.
So there's 3 different units. There's all different units.
So
I had to get brought down from Jersey to Manhattan to get sentenced. So they put you in MCC. That's where I was with El Mayo's son, Henry.
Right.
We talked about I was with Henry there until I got sentenced. I was with him for like 10 days. They bring you down like 2 weeks before you get sentenced. And then I was in MCC. There's only 7 of us. There's only 7 people in the whole unit. It's a floor, an MCC. It's just our unit. We have a special unit. They don't have it no more. And I'm on the floor with him, me, Henry, and like 5 other dudes.
So when you leave there, you're saying you're in witness protection. When you leave there, did you go into witness protection?
No, I went right back home. Yeah. I went right back to Howard Beach. I was living in Howard Beach again.
Were you concerned?
No.
You weren't concerned. Wait a minute. Come on. You're not concerned at all. Somebody's gonna drive by.
Not this era.
No.
No. Maybe 30 years ago, I was the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? I knew they didn't have shooters no more. I was the last shooting done for my family was for me in 2012 in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Think about that.
I don't know.
There's no more violence. Look, the murder was taken out of the mob. I say this on all my podcasts. I took advantage of the time. I knew I was a vicious guy in the street, and I'm not bragging about it, but I was that guy. I was bad dude, you know? I walk into your store in broad daylight. I'll beat you in your store in front of people. I had that reputation of broad daylight violence, vicious guy. I worked for powerful people, but I was vicious on my own. You mean to tell me just because I cooperated, oh, now Gene's lunch meat? No, you're not going to just walk up to me and say what you want. You know what I'm saying? You got to be that guy. And I know who the guys are that would do that to me. And most of them are dead or in jail.
Right.
So I'm walking out to a bunch of guppies that never shot a cap gun. You think I'm worried? I did more violence in 1 month. These kids did combined in their life. I kidnapped people, zip tied them, put them in trunks. These guys never did nothing in their lives. You think I'm worried about them? I'm laughing.
Right.
They're more worried about seeing me than I am seeing them because they don't know what I'm going to do. I was a fly off the handle explosive guy. I was a hothead. So you're not going to just come to me and go, oh, get the fuck out of here. You got to be that guy. I know who's going to move on me. I was walking in my neighborhood again. Walking in the neighborhood again.
How many shorts do you think he just gave us?
At what point did you decide that you were going to cooperate? And like, what was the mental struggle? Like, was there ever a mental struggle of, I'm not going to, okay, you know what? I am going to.
So if my boss would have helped me and paid my lawyer, I would have felt like a piece of shit cooperating. But because the way he left me and how I got left and how things went down, I did it with a smile. You know what I mean? I didn't like the way it was done. So if he would have actually did the right thing by me and stood by me, I'd be sitting in a penitentiary somewhere right now, telling war stories.
So for me, it was when they screamed, "Secret Service, get on the ground."
But you weren't part of an organization.
No.
You were just doing.
And I'm like, listen, and everybody's already cooperated against me.
You're not even considered a rat to me. I'm being real with you. Yous are a bunch of pencil pushers. Yous are not fucking like in the street baseball batting people, and you're cooperating against corporate people. It's not even considered being a rat.
Keep in mind that the first time I got in trouble, I give my lawyer $75,000. He says, "Listen, you haven't been indicted yet. Like someone wore a wire on you. They're going to indict you." He goes, "But at this point," he said, "if you go into your office and get me like 10 of your most egregious files from your mortgage brokers, bring them here, explain what's going on."
They won't lock you up.
He said, I'll get the whole thing. I'll keep you from being indicted. You could just go away.
Yeah.
And they'll go after them. He's like, and you'll cooperate against them. It's called pretrial intervention, right? And I went, I'm not going to do that. But of course, when I got in trouble, all those same people cooperated.
Listen,
so at that point, I realized if I get caught, I'm cooperating.
I know in the gangster life, he's still going to go, oh, he's a rat. But in actuality, you weren't a part of a criminal organization. You weren't a gang
I never
member.
promised anybody anything.
No, I'm saying you were a fucking guy about, stealing money. Like the Sam Bankman kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not really a cooperator to me. It's like you're all telling on each other to get out. You know what I'm saying? With us, we vow to not ever do this.
Right.
Our code, I have it on my arm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was all big on that shit. I'm a sellout, if you want to break it down. But I don't look at it like that because they sold me out. So that's how I break it down. They left me for dead. I was the one doing all the work. You know what I'm saying? So in my brain, I feel like I got fucking fucked over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, don't worry about Genie Boy. He'll be all right. He could do 30 years.
Oh, don't listen. Don't worry. I feel the same way. Like I don't have any fucking guilt.
No,
I give a fuck.
If so, because people always ask it, but like I says, and I'm not bullshitting you, I get thousands of DMs, people that love me.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I'm boxing this kid. He's getting death threats in his DMs. I'm like, bro, chill out. It's just boxing.
Right.
Like they're fucking giving him death threats. People love me. Like a lot of people really, really like me. A lot of people don't like me, but it's like I'm not a bad person. When you get to know me, I'm a cool dude. I'm down to earth. I'm not what you think I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like this mean guy walking around, just murder one face all day. I was never like that. But when it's time to get busy, I get busy. That's all it was. You know what I'm saying? When it came to my organization, they wanted me to do something, it's getting done. You could count your legs. If they had me on you, I'm getting you. Like there's no if and buts about it. I'll hunt you down. You already know I'm hunting you until I get you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was such a good asset to him. But when I went to jail, where are you?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Everybody always thinks that like the whole omerta or the street code, whatever, is they're always like, yeah, man, keep your mouth shut. Well, wait. There's a whole bunch of shit that goes along with that you forgot.
Right.
Like, you're supposed to put money on my books. You're supposed to take care of my family. You're
They're
supposed to
not
help me
doing
with
that.
my lawyer. No.
doing that.
All that is thrown aside, but you got to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Fuck
Like, I'm not gonna.
Listen, I live a great life. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck. What am I standing up for? The organization's dead. These guys ain't busting grapes. The guys that are in charge right now have never even been in fistfights. They were carrying John Senior's laundry. They just made it because they never got indicted.
Right.
You know, nobody respects these guys no more. There's no real serious guys out there like, bro, when we used to wake up, and I'm not bullshitting you, when I was in the early 2000s starting off, all we did was plot every day. We go to social clubs, how we making money today, who we robbing, who we extorting. That's gangsters. That's being in the mafia, not, oh, hey, I'm going to go sip a drink at a social club and wear a suit. That's not a gangster. When we were in that gangster life, we were plotting every day. Loan sharking, sports, who owes money, debt lips, go beat this guy, go this, do we got to deal with this guy? Let's make money, let's rob this, I got to score. That's living the gangster life.
Yeah, it's Goodfellas. And Goodfellas started the whole thing.
I lived that life. I got the tail end of it. This new life they live, they don't even talk about shooting a squirrel with a cap gun.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I was just saying, in the movies, like the whole, you notice they're all wearing nice clothes. Like in Godfather, you think they're wearing nice clothes. There's money under the table and shit, but you go to Goodfellas, no, they're burning places down.
Street
they're
thugs.
shooting each other.
That's
they're
gangsters.
They're robbing fucking
If those guys
trucks.
were still around, I probably would have stood up. You know why? It's something to stand up for. These guys are really about their life. I'm standing up for a guy that won't fucking schedule 3 years. Never even been to jail before. You know what I'm saying? I've been in prison my whole life. I lived that gangster life for real. That's why. Why do you think my book's a bestseller? Why? Because I could dance good? Well, you know, I'm a good dancer. Oh, they like Gene. Yeah, recruit him to be an enforcer because he could break dance. You know what I'm saying? Like, common sense. I was a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? And that's why where I am today, and that's why I'm so popular today, because they know I'm real. I was genuine. I really did this stuff. I'm not. You got guys coming on the show talking about, oh, my friend did this. I did it. That's the difference. Not, oh, I was there when my friend shot somebody. I did it. You understand? So that's the difference between me and all these other ex-mob guys. And that's how I always break it down. I did it. I'm the one pulling triggers. I'm the one sitting on you. I'm the one kidnapping you. Not while 6 blocks down with a CB going, oh, he got him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I break it down. That's why I'm so popular. And that's why, you know, I'm still going to this day. Right now, me and you're going to get, 70,000 views on this, bro.
you know what's
What's
funny?
the last one at?
You know what's funny? The last one we did, when you were walking out the door, you looked at me. You go, "How many subs you got?" And at the time, I had like 100,000 or something. And you go, "You'll get 200,000 on this." And I thought, this fucking guy. Listen, within like 3 months, it hit 200,000, and I thought, this motherfucker.
If you go, I remember my friend tell me, because I have a lot of friends, people love me in Florida, and I get a message from my good friend. He goes, Gene, I go on the podcast, and he goes, you're top viewed on all their podcasts. Every show you do with a podcast is their top views.
That's why I keep fucking telling you. Why aren't you running a fucking
No,
podcast?
I don't want. I don't like it because I don't want to get burnt out. I like doing it like this. I'll come on every once in a while, and people get excited about it, and I got new things to talk about. When these mob guys, what they do is that if they go every day, they're burnt out. The only one that won't get burnt out is Sammy and Mike, because they're like on a different level, but all the other ones are burnt out.
Yeah, but you don't have to talk.
Right.
If you're doing my job, you could sit here, and this is actually what's supposed to be, I'm supposed to be talking to, and I've talked maybe 15% of the time.
Right.
So I'm saying, if you're interviewing someone else, you don't have to say anything. You go,
Right.
so where were you born? And if you're lucky, you don't say anything else until the end when you go, wow, I appreciate you coming by.
I could get athletes. I mean, I have so many connects where I don't know. I think because I was making so much money in the last, I got rich real quick.
Right.
And then blew it all. So
what happens when you get money?
So I got rich real quick, and I was making like I'm talking about like crazy money, not like $20,000 a month. I'm talking about like crazy money. And then what happened was I just went crazy. So I didn't give a fuck about podcasts and all that stuff. I was just balling out of control and going nuts for like the last 8 months. And now, I'm coming back to life, and I'm gonna do it again. But now I'm not gonna blow it all. You know what I'm saying? Buying McLarens, Hummers, Richard, just going crazy. And I spending $60,000 on vacations. I just went nuts. And, now I have to tone it down and come back and get rich again and not do that. You know what I mean?
Listen, building a channel is slow.
Yeah.
But once the money hits and it starts coming in, there are guys making hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I know them all.
Right. So now, granted, it takes a year or two to get there, admittedly, and it's depressing as fuck all.
You know the Asian kid I went on, Sean Kelly? The tall Asian?
Yeah.
He's making about $200,000 a month.
Yeah.
Vlad TV?
Motherfucker.
Yeah. Vlad TV? About the same.
Yeah.
No, I'll be honest. I know the podcasts that make that kind of money. Sean Kelly's
I know. I just did Sean Kelly. I just had that conversation with him.
He makes about $200,000 a month. I know for a fact. He told me himself.
Yeah.
I'm cool with Sean. He makes about $200,000 a month. on fucking YouTube. Think, why would you ever want to go to school? It kills school. I mean, I'll become famous on YouTube. Look at that kid, that other kid. They have popular shows. They're making like doing weird shit, eating stuff. They're making fucking a couple $100,000 a month.
But I'm
on
saying
YouTube.
all you have to do is interview people, and people would want to be interviewed.
I'm probably in the works.
He could run this.
No, he wants to.
thing.
He wants to. My buddy wants to do it. I think we're gonna do it. You know, and people
He doesn't even have shirt sleeves.
No, people just want me on the air. They love me. You know what I'm saying? They call me Secret Service. It says. So, like I said, people just want me to talk. Even sports like me to talk about. I'm debating on it. I don't know because, like I says, my other things are still in the works. You know what I mean? So I don't want to.
Right.
I have retirement plans hopefully happening. So that's all. And then I'll come see you every once in a while.
Yeah.
And bullshit.
Why do you think the people in the comments that aren't affiliated with the life at all care whether or not you cooperate?
Well, it's not. It's just the trolling. They're just having fun. It's the truth because a lot of guys that even troll, when I answer them, you know what they say? Oh shit! I didn't know you really answer people.
Yeah. Yo, bro. I'm sorry, man. I love your stuff.
I get that all the time. They're like, oh shit, that's really Gene Borrello. So it's like it's just having fun. You know what I'm saying?
So you're doing a celebrity boxing event?
Yeah, I'm supposed to do
going on with
celebrity
that?
boxing. Yeah, in Philly. I'm going to Philly to fight this jerk off, Joey Molino's guy, whatever. It's supposed to happen in April or May. We'll see what happens. I'm supposed to be getting trained by professional fighters, and let's see what's up. You know, the guy's not really a great fighter. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really worried about it.
Is it is it just one fight or is there multiple?
Well, my goal is to call somebody out after that fight. After I beat this guy, I'll call out John Guy III, who just fought Mayweather and cannot box to save his life. He's a UFC fighter. And we hate each other. Me and the family, they sued me for $20 million on the front page of the paper. I would love to do it. You know what I mean? Love to do it. So that would be cool.
And you got anything else?
I mean, I had some questions, but they're more so about the cooperation since we've kind of moved on to that. Let's see. So when you're starting to cooperate, like when you sit down at that table, do they just say, all right, tell us everything? Or do they say,
No,
I'm curious about this specific thing?
No, they don't do that. You got to start from when you're a kid. They want to know your whole life story. They want to know your upbringing, your family, your mom, your dad, names, uncles, cousins. They want to know everything about you so they can learn about you. And also, you understand something. At the end of the day, they want to make you feel comfortable. And you learn this from the agents because me and the agents got very friendly. And they started telling me a lot of their tactics and tricks, which, you know, you just become friends with people.
Yeah.
They says, we want to make you comfortable. And they actually want to relate with you. So they'll actually want to know what TV shows you like. And they'll go home and study what you like. I swear to God. If they really need you and you're a big cooperator, they'll go home and watch the TV show that you like just so they can relate and talk to you. That's how much they get into it.
What are some other things that they do? Do you know? Do you remember?
Like a lot of their tactics, they all have group chats. So as you're talking, they already know the answer. So when you lie to them, they'll group chat and they'll say, okay, do that again. Mm-hmm. What are you talking about? Okay, look.
Yeah.
You know, like when the government locks you up, it's because usually with organized crime, you've been investigated for 7 years, 6 years, 5 years. The case been going on since 2012. They got you in 2017. They know everything. They have a laundry list of evidence, and you're confirming everything. And when you say something wrong, and they know it's wrong, you'll see them group chat. They have like a whole little click. They also have texting, and they'll go, "All right, listen." So, and they'll come back to that question, and they keep asking that question because they know you're not telling the truth. You know?
Yeah. When you went to the witness protection unit,
Yeah.
did you have to come up for yourself like your own kind of fake backstory?
No. So everybody in there is a cooperator in the WITSEC unit, and the COs are not allowed to know your name. They go by your initials. Only the people in the front can know your actual name.
And do the actual inmates be like, hey, okay, this is... Do you guys kind of say
We
who
all
you really
know.
are?
It's all it's all bullshit. Even the COs know your real name, but they have to. They call. But when they do say visit, GB. Only the people in the front office, the unit managers, can know your actual name. They know everything about your life.
But you've been on in the front page of the paper.
Right. So
they can't
mostly,
figure it
like when I did Vlad TV, I was getting phone calls that the COs were showing everybody in the unit. Yo, Gene, because I just left the unit. And I did Vlad TV. It's like a huge podcast. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just walked out of fucking jail 6 years. I don't know what YouTube is. And Johnny Eli puts me on Vlad and the Flores twin, Margarito. Mm-hmm. They all were contacting, like, you know, people that I was in the, that we knew each other, and his wife contacted me and said, yo, they're all in the unit laughing that the CO is showing you on Vlad TV. So it's like, you know, they're in the units, but they're all still, you know, everyone's still talking about it and everything.
If you known it was bigger, would you have grown out your beard?
Huh?
If you knew the podcast was bigger, would you have grown out your beard before you went on?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hated that.
When I saw that thumbnail, I was like, I didn't even recognize it.
I'll be honest with you.
Clean shaven.
I just did what was it, 90 days in the hole. I was 168 pounds. I haven't seen the sun in 3 months. You know what I'm saying? I was all fucked up. So like,
how soon after you released did you go on that podcast?
3 weeks?
3 weeks. Johnny Eli threw me on there 3 weeks. And I had no idea how big it is. And they're like, bro, do you understand where you're going on? I was like, no. He's like, bro, it's like the biggest podcast in the country. I'm like, this guy don't tell me this. I'm fucking look like a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? I was all cracked out. And then when I got to do it with him again, you know, we did a great show. I beat out everybody on my list, which was all actors, celebrities, and everything. I beat all of them in numbers. My main podcast did like 340,000. I beat out the famous comedians, bunch of famous people.
Did Vlad, because I did Vlad, did he show up? Was he there in person?
With me, yeah, he was there in person.
Yeah, see the motherfucker.
Yeah, he sat
with
with
me with the I got a fucking FaceTime on a fucking pad.
He sat with me in person. We had a whole team there because I was doing that. I did No Jumper. I did a whole bunch of. I did the whole run out there with me and Anthony Arulada. We did Soft White Underbelly. He wanted me to keep coming on. He's like, bro, I'll pay you more money. Just come do another one. I'm like, bro, how we let me do 5 episodes? This guy talking about things. Yeah. It was cool, man. You know. But
who's that? Soft White Underbelly.
Soft White Underbelly. He's cool as hell.
Mark.
Yeah, Mark's cool. And but I was trying to get to Joe Rogan, you know, but it's hard to get to him. You know what I'm saying? But
listen, I literally know.
Wait,
I know.
I had Deshaun Watson, the football player.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
I know who it is.
Very famous football player. His manager is my friend.
Okay.
Brian, great guy. He messages Joe Rogan all the time and goes, you have to put this kid on. This guy's the manager of huge athletes. He loves me. And he's like, you have to put, he messages Joe Rogan all the time. You have to put Gene Borrello on. He's the best, da-da-da. But, you know, a lot of people try to get to him. He's more like, he doesn't do stories. He's more like just talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm into all the stuff that he talks about.
So Rogan actually talked about watching Soft White Underbelly and watching my episode on one of his things. Talks about it. He's had Mark on.
Yeah,
I know of 3 people. Really, I know of 4, and the one guy I don't want to say, but that have all said like, "Hey, there's this guy Matt Cox, former con man. You got to have him on." And the last and all of them, he's like, yeah, I know who he is. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll think about it. He's just not interested. Like, he's just like, and everybody's like, why do you think it is? And I'm thinking like,
no,
bro, not for everybody.
No,
like,
he's just so big. He's probably so booked up.
Yeah, and
he's probably so booked up. It's like, you know, look who's coming on a show, A-list actors and shit like that. It's like to get to us, it's like,
and it's just like what you said. Like he's interested in like my
aliens and things.
Well, my claim to fame is I've got a great story, but I'm not like this. I'm not like a comedian that is funny in anything they talk about. Like you said, it's not a conversation with me. It's like, hey, here's my story. So I can see how him thinking, okay, you're going to sit down and tell your story for fucking 4 hours?
Yeah, he's not doing that.
He don't
do that. He don't do that. He's going to want to sit down and talk about this life, what's going on and things like that, which I could do with him. You know, I'm just hoping that.
Yeah, I could do it too. Yeah, but that's not what I'm known for.
I want just to get on him. He's the only podcast I basically didn't do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only one. And my buddies keep reaching out. They want me on there. And supposedly one guy says, yo, he would definitely have you on, like one of them knew him, but it never happened, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you. Depressing.
Did you have the option to go in witness protection when you're leaving?
Yeah, I told them for what? Who are you protecting me from? I was the bad.
Plus, you gotta have to behave.
No, but I'm saying, I told them, I says, who you protect me from? I says, when they need somebody shot, they called me. Who you protecting me from? Who are you protecting me from? These guys are all washed up. I says, fuck you protecting me from? You know what I'm saying? You gave a deal to the devil.
So the guys that have the opportunity to cooperate and don't, when they're facing, let's say, a large amount of time, 5, 10 plus years, why do you think they do
Well, if
not?
you're cooperating over 10 years or 5 years, you should never be in the street, to be honest with you. If you're going to be a cooperator, you said 5 to 10 years. No, usually guys that I know that cooperate
over 5 to 10.
No, 20, 30s, and 40s. Most people that I was with, like, you have to be throwing the book at us. You know what I'm saying? Or like real time. 10 years, I would have you never meet me. 20 years, you never meet me. I'd be happy to come home at 46 years old. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't my ballpark. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anybody that was cooperating over anything under 10 years or 15 years, you had no business in the street.
Did you have relationships that, like, after you got out, that people were just like, I'm not talking to you anymore?
Just the mob guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting I still talk to people a lot where I'm from, you know, they don't really give a fuck because they know it's all a joke. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the guys that didn't cooperate were facing 3 years, bro. Like, oh, I'm a stand-up guy. I got that in the hole, bro. I got 3 years in a bathroom. Like, you're going to sit here and tell me you stood up because you did 24 months? You don't know where anyone's at until they're facing real time. You know what I'm saying? These guys say, oh, I'm a stand-up guy. I did 3 years. Bro, who the fuck can't do? My mother could do 3 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's nothing impressive. When you sit down, you take a 20-piece, 25-piece, and you hold it down, you know that guy's legit. You know what I'm saying? And even sometimes they'll hold that down, but they won't hold down 40. You know, it's very weird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you never know where anyone's at until they're facing, like, real time. You know what I mean?
How much money did you blow over the last 8 months? Dollar amount.
800 and something thousand.
How do you do that?
Cars, clothes, jewelry, vacations, partying, every day.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's how. I got $100,000 wardrobe. I mean, I went crazy. Yeah, you know. So, but I'll get it back. You know, I had fun. You know, don't go to, you know, like I said, the places we were going are extremely expensive, you know what I'm saying? And just different lifestyle, you know what I mean? It goes fast when you're living like that because you're not going to a dinner that costs $100. You're going to a dinner that costs $2,500.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a whole different life, you know what I mean? So like I said, I've been wealthy before, broke. I've did it 3 times. I'll be wealthy again because I have so many options and then I won't blow it this time. That's it.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. Hey, you guys, I appreciate you watching. Do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos like this. Also, check the description box. We're going to leave all of Gene's social media links. So check those out. Follow him. Yell at him in the comments. Call him names. Whatever. He doesn't mind. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you very much. See ya.